Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another uh just a chatting type of vid. Recently I made a video about Jordan Addison, and unfortunately that was under pretty bad circumstances. Like that was not a lot of happy shit to talk about in that video. But I felt like I had to make that video because I had some strong opinions on it. I wanted to talk about it. This video is going to be about Bronny James because I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Bronny, and no disrespect to him. I'm sure he's a good person or whatever, but people have real and legitimate issues with the fact that he's even in the NBA. Like it's people just don't like it, and I completely understand. And I'm going to give my point of view and my perspective and my input. I want to make more videos like this where I don't just have to talk about a team or games or even just NFL or college football. I want to try and expand and just talk about whatever's on my mind. So this is something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to tackle and answer the question because I think it's a very fair question. Should Bronny even be in the NBA? Now, background information. I used to be a massive NBA fan. I am still a big Raptors fan, but I don't know what it is. The last 2 years, really just not for me. I don't know. I've loved college football and NFL so much more than NBA, and they kind of overlap, but not really. If I wanted to be a big NBA fan, I could. That's just I don't really care that much. I think I think it's directly related to how good the Raptors are because when they were great and they were winning championships and they were well at least one of the best teams in the league, I was literally a diehard know it all, whatever NBA fan. But the last 2 years we've sucked, and as a result, I just don't really watch that much NBA anymore. Last season didn't really watch it at all, but I still feel like I should have some input here on what I think. So let's get into it here. First of all, thank you for watching. Let's bring up Bronny James college stats because listen, he was one and done at USC, and he was not a good player. I don't know if he didn't start because he wasn't good enough. Probably that's the case, or injury. Didn't he have like a heart issue recently? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But honestly, man, the kid was one and done at USC, and he wasn't even good. This is the problem, right? The question at hand is, should Bronny James even be in the NBA? First of all, the answer is no. I mean, that's a pretty easy open and shut no. He's not good enough to be in the NBA. He's not good enough to be drafted in the first place. And every stat you can find backs it up. I mean, listen, the kid played college basketball and he was bad. He was not a good player. He was not a good college basketball player. That's not deniable. Find me a single stat here that's impressive. Just one. I'll wait. He was terrible at shooting everything. I mean, his 2 point percentage under 50%, his 3 point percentage 26%, his free throw percentage was bad for a guard. I mean that he didn't do anything impressively. Now I'll give him this. Let's start with the positives because there's not many. He's a very athletic kid. I've seen some posts talking about if his dad wasn't LeBron, maybe he could have been a pretty good safety or cornerback. You know what? I can see it. He moves very fluidly. I think he gives effort on defense. So I respect that, right? But in terms of being just an offensive player, I can't name a positive in regards to Bronny James. I know he shot well at like what was it, the combine or something. He knocked down a lot of threes, but in college he didn't shoot well, and so far in the summer league he's not shooting well. So, and when it comes to actual games, the man's not a good shooter. So I don't care what he did in an open gym at the combine or whatever. Um, so okay, so point one, the kid was not good enough in college, and this is the thing that really just this is really because I'm gonna get mad in this video because stuff like this really annoys me. He knew this is the thing. This is the thing that annoys me. He knew that he didn't have to be a good college player whatsoever. He knew he was going to get drafted simply because his name is LeBron James Jr. That's what annoys me. His path is just he doesn't have a path. It's like at Six Flags when you have the season pass. You just skip the line. You skip the line. You got all these guys that play years of college basketball, work their ass off, don't even get drafted. I'm gonna talk about one of those guys in this video. But Bronny James, because and listen, there are a lot of people that say, well, you can't blame Bronny. He's just trying to follow his dream. No, you can blame Bronny because he could have elected to go back to school for his sophomore. Why didn't he go back to school? You know why? Because he knew he didn't have to. He knew he could make it to the NBA simply because LeBron is his dad. That annoys me to no end because that means he's not genuine. right? Because if he really wanted to work on his craft, if he really wanted to pursue an education at USC, he could get a degree or whatever. If he really wanted to do anything, if he wanted to hone his craft, be the best player he could be, by the time he got to the NBA, he would have gone back to school and worked on his game. Because obviously, you don't need to be a general manager to know that these stats are not good enough to get to the NBA. And for comparison, let's bring up somebody that I've watched myself. I have only been to one college basketball game in my life. That was Marshall at Georgia State. And I went to that game because a good friend of mine plays on Marshall and he played in this game. And I went there to watch my friend play basketball. Just so happens that in that game, this guy right here, Tavion Kinsey, shooting guard, pretty much the same size as LeBron James Jr. He was on that team as well. And he played in that game. And he dropped 40 fucking points on Georgia State. And I'm sitting there in my seat. I was like pretty much courtside. I was like, God damn, this guy's a monster. This guy's an animal. And let's compare his stats. Here's a guy who spent 5 years in college basketball being the best player he could be. Here's a guy who started 130 games. Here's a guy who started every single game of his sophomore, his junior, his senior, his extra year because of COVID. Here's a guy who started 130 games compared to Bronny's six. Here's a guy who played 6 times as many games as Bronny. Here's a guy who statistically is just an animal. I mean, the guy averaged 22 points per game last season. He has 3 straight years averaging over 19 points per game. Here's a guy who's just a dominant scorer. Here's a guy who shot the ball over 40% from three multiple years. He has a great mid-range game. He was dangerous attacking the cup. That's just from what I remember from watching the guy play. He drew a lot of fouls. He's a much better free throw shooter than Bronny at a higher volume. He actually, the man's, I don't know what to say. The man was an absolute animal on the court that day. And just overall, he's a complete player, plays both ends of the court. Here's a guy who worked his ass off. His dad's not a billionaire. So you know what happened to him? He didn't get drafted. Boo hoo, sucks to suck, I guess. Unless your dad's a billionaire, you don't get drafted because you know what? Not everybody has an easy path. Not everybody gets to skip the line, right? And so he had to go the hard way. And thankfully, the Jazz picked him up on like a two-way contract. So he's in the league, thankfully. I think he's playing summer league right now, actually. Thankfully, because he deserves a shot. He's more than good enough to play in the NBA. So that's the comparison I want to make. That's why I have a problem with this, because this guy got drafted and this guy didn't. Even though this guy is matter of fact, that's disrespectful. This guy's 4 times the player that this guy is. But because this guy's dad's a billionaire, he gets to go to the NBA. That is wrong on every level. And that's why people hate Bronny James. It's not because he's a bad person. It's not because it's not because of any of that. I don't even think it's because of LeBron. Maybe some of it's because of LeBron, but I think the real reason people hate Bronny James is because they hate people who skip the line. Us as a society, on average, when we see somebody who has it the easy way, who lives life on easy mode, right? We don't like that. We like the guys like Tavion Kinsey, who has to work their ass off, balls the fuck out, doesn't get drafted somehow. I still don't know how he didn't get drafted. Doesn't get drafted, has to go the G League route, has to go the summer league route. And he still might not make the Jazz roster. Who knows? And he's not getting paid what was the kind? It was like 4 years, $7 million. That's what Bronny James gets. This got him 4 years, $7 million. Why the hell is he getting paid anyways? His dad's a billionaire. This is the thing. If Bronny was playing for free, that's a different story. Because first of all, he still doesn't even deserve to be in the NBA. But at least if he was paying for free, I'd understand that. He is stealing money. He is being given I got to calm down. This is because it really pisses me off the more I think about it. And I have not really spent much time thinking about this, but I just thought, I'll make a video about Bronny, whatever. He is getting millions of dollars because of who his father is, opposed to other people who have put in 6 times more than 6 times the amount of work he has to get to that point. And they don't even get a fraction of what Bronny's going to make, because he's going to get endorsements. He's going to get sponsors. He's going to sign brand deals. He's going to make probably 20 times as much money as Tavion Kinsey next year. And that is wrong. That is objectively wrong. And that shit makes me mad. And it should make everybody mad. That's why I don't support the people who hate on him as a person and trash him and say all this shit. But if you hate the fact that Bronny James is in the NBA and other talented guys are not, I support you 100% because that is the right take to have about this. Nepotism sucks. Whether it's the NBA, whether it's business, whether it's an alumni's kid getting into a college, like a prestigious college like Yale or Harvard or whatever, opposed to the guy, like the immigrant kid who has to work his ass off to get that point. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the rich kid getting favoritism, getting special treatment over the regular guy, the average guy who's better than him, who puts in more work, who's more deserving. They get passed up. They get passed up for a guy like Bronny James, and that's why people hate him. And I support that. I support that 100%. I'm not mad whatsoever at Bronny James getting drugged through the media, getting trashed online because he should. Because he should. And listen, you know what? I hope Bronny James becomes a good NBA player, but I don't support this. I don't think he deserves to be in the NBA. He shouldn't be in the NBA. And his summer league stats back. Where is it? Where is this shit? One second. Bronny James summer league stats. Let's pull this shit. I saw this the other day. There's no way this is true, right? There's no way this is true, right? 4-4-1. 0 for 50. So remember all the people that are talking about Bronny shot the lights out in the NBA Combine. 0 for 15 from three. I hope this is a joke or something, but I think this isn't a joke. I think this is for real. The guy can't play. The guy can't play. And I do feel bad in a way because obviously, because LeBron's his father and he's 6'4", he has to play basketball, right? Maybe he doesn't even love the game of basketball. That would suck, honestly. That would suck if you're a guy who doesn't even want to play basketball, but because your dad's one of the best ever, you feel pressured to play and everybody's trashing you because obviously you're not as talented as everybody else who is better than you, who has spent more time playing basketball. Like, I do feel bad for Bronny, but at the end of the day, he made this decision. After his freshman season at USC, where he was not good, where he sucked, he made the decision to declare for the draft because he knew he would get drafted off his name alone. That is why I think he is in part responsible for this. Because if he was a genuine good guy and he wanted to do this the right way, he would have gone back to USC. He would have worked on his craft. He would have become a better player so that at least you could make the argument that, yeah, he probably doesn't deserve to get drafted this high, but at least he's put in the work in college, right? At least he's done that. No, he has not done that in reality. He is getting drafted solely based off his name, and he's being gifted millions of dollars solely because of who his father is, and everybody should have a problem with that. The people that are defending Bronny and are like, how can you hate on this kid? I just explained to you why. A guy like Tavion Kinsey has to work and scrap on a two-way contract, even though he did 10 times as much in college as Bronny James did. They're both like 6'4", 6'5", too. I watched this guy drop 40 points on Georgia State. The guy's good enough to be in the NBA, and he's not. He's not because Bronny James, for some reason, is in the NBA. So that's it for this video, guys. I understand that this probably is not like the what's it called? It's probably not the most fun video, but I have to rant on certain things that really piss me off. And this is a thing that's kind of dividing some people right now. They're like, should we hate on, like, or they think, is the Bronny hate justified? I think so. I wouldn't go as far to trash him personally or attack him on IG or whatever. I don't think that's right. But if you are someone that has a problem with him being in the NBA and you don't like the nepotism that's going on and you feel bad and pissed off for all the guys who worked hard and actually deserve a shot in the NBA but don't get it because guys like Bronny James are taking up a roster spot, that is perfectly okay to feel like that. Perfectly okay. I have a major problem with the fact that Bronny James is in the NBA, and everybody that has a problem with that too, I stand with you. So that's going to be it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I will be back very shortly. So yeah, see you.